Good Erev Shabbos, Parshas Savo. First of all, tremendous thank you to Sophia Dissoff and Chana Lanis for sponsoring this week's shuls virtually in loving memory of their father, Eliyahu ben Avram Zusia Tzurkin, whose first yahrzeit is already this Shabbos. May his neshama have an aliyah. He certainly is having an aliyah from your beautiful lives. And may his neshama have an aliyah from this Devar Torah. So one of the wonderful brachas that we find in this week's Parsha is the Torah tells us, L'sitcha el yain al kol hagayim. Klal Yisrael should be elevated amongst all the nations. Asher asa l'tehila, we made for tehila, for praise, l'shem, for good name, teferes, for splendor. L'yaischa am kadosh l'Hashem leikecha kasher diber. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu will elevate us, lift us up, for praise, for good name, for majesty. I'd like to share a thought on this from Rav Meir Tzvi Spitzer, Shlita of the Mir Yeshiva. He shares a beautiful idea. And he quotes the Baal HaTurim. The Baal HaTurim explains this pasuk, that when Klal Yisrael keeps mitzvahs properly, for example, he says on our pasuk, davening properly in shul, showing proper respect, when we show up to shul, praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu, l'tehila, that's our focus, tehila, praise, giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu the shame, the good name, that everything is in absolute control and everything's good in the world. We're mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We elevate, we crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we say, l'tiferes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are our splendor. If we properly and we do all these things, all the mitzvahs the way they should be, it'll bring tehila, shame, and tiferes to Hashem. But, says the Baal HaTurim, chas v'shalom, God forbid, a person who speaks sichas chulin, a person who speaks unnecessarily in a shul does exactly the opposite. He removes the praise, the shame, and the teferes of God's name. It's a tremendous responsibility that we have. We're all familiar with the Shulchan Aruch, quoted by the Mishnah Brura as well, brought down halacha l'maisa. The Shulchan Aruch is citing Rabbi Menachem, who writes that if a person shmoozes in shul instead of davening, gadol avayna min asay, his sin is too great to bear. Even Cain, who used these words as a question, ultimately was responded to, and he was told he could do tshuva. But over here, this is a fact. A person who talks in shul, shmoozes in shul, gadol avayna min asay. The aveira is too great to be forgiven, which is why the Mishnah Brura paskins, if we see people disturbing, shmoozing in shul, and not showing proper respect to shul, gayarin bay, we're supposed to scream at them. We're supposed to protest. If you want to protest, this is something to protest about. We rebuke that person, because not only is this person shmoozing and showing disrespect for shul, they're removing the crown and majesty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Our goal is to bring Kavod Shemayim. And not only that, the Rishonim let us know that a shul that's treated properly, where the focus is tehila, shame, and teferes, is like Har Sinai. Har Sinai was Mount Sinai Hospital. Everybody was healed when we accepted the Torah at Har Sinai. When you have a shul, when you have a place where nobody talks, people treat the shul with proper kavod, it's Mount Sinai Hospital. Our tefillas are going to be answered. We're going to have powerful prayers, and when somebody shows up and starts schmoozing in shul, totally disregarding the respect that needs to be had, not only are they showing a lack of kavod for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they are harming everybody else's tefillos. It's not menschlich. Not only is it not menschlich, it's disgusting. It's not nice. What right do I have to ruin other people's tefillos? People are coming to daven. They have things to pray about. What's the answer? We forget. Okay, yeah, we forget at times. So what happens when we're reminded, though? Somebody say, we start talking. Somebody says, no, like this. Do we talk louder? If somebody reminds me that, we're in a shul, maybe we should have a little more kavod, a little more respect for where we are. And my response is, who are you? As if I'm the tzaddik. What we have to realize from this Baal HaTurim is that at best, I'm showing an immaturity, and at worst, I'm a rasha. I'm evil. Why am I hurting other people's prayers because I'm in the mood to shmooze? What type of personality is that? But on the flip side, when we're careful and we say Tehillah l'shem u'teferes, I show up to shul to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give Hashem the shame, to give Hashem the name, Teferes, the splendor, the glory. Our tefillas will be answered, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives that Teferes, that shame, and that Tehillah right back to us. The lesson of this pasuk is very, very clear. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos.